Hey Fish Gang, so like Fish Gang guy said, we are going to be making some art today. So I first just want to let you know what materials you're going to need to complete this project. So first you're going to need some paint. If you choose to use paint, it's definitely optional. If you use paint, you're going to need some water, some paintbrushes, maybe a little tub to put your paint in. If you don't have this, you can certainly use a piece of tin foil if you'd like. We might use a Sharpie later for some extra little additions we're going to be making. You're going to need a canvas. You can choose what size you'd like. Of course, you're going to need sea glass. So here we have sea glass that I have collected over time. We also have bought sea glass, which you could use if you don't have any on hand. You can find these online. You can find these even at the Dollar Tree these days. So pretty inexpensive project. Because I like to do a little bit extra, we might have some rocks, some other little, shells that we found over the years. So totally up to you to customize it how you would like to have it. And of course, we're going to need our hot glue gun, some hot glue sticks. And again, for extra little design, if you want to have twine on hand, then you're going to be all set to go. So here we go. All right, so before we jump in, I just want to show you a bigger version of kind of what our vision is for today. So several years ago, I think it was our first anniversary, I made this gift for Fish Gang Guy. So it's him, me, and the sea. So you can tell we use a lot of extra materials here. We're going to be doing a little bit of a smaller version of this. So just so you guys have a reference, this is what we're working with. All right, so step one, I just picked out a couple colors that I thought would be nice for our background of the ocean and maybe for some sand. So for reference, I used suede, I used aqua, tan, and a classic white. So here we go. We're gonna head into the canvas and I'll show you how to do that. All right, so I started with a medium-sized paintbrush. I went into the aqua and I mixed a little bit of white with it to start off with our water. So you can see I'm also adding to the sides. White will definitely make your canvas look a little bit lighter. Then we move into the sand color. I just went right into that suede. Again, don't forget your sides, adding a little bit of white, and we're just blending it. I didn't really clean off the brush too much because we're imagining this is underwater. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to dry, we're gonna move into the sea glass part and talk about what kind of pieces are we looking for to make our fish friends. I'm just gonna pour it all out. Why not? So you can choose to use any color that you want for the fish. I tend to go with like the white or the clear, and then I use green for, the fins, but it's totally up to you depending on what you have on hand. So we're just gonna look through these pieces and I'll show you what we find. All right, so I sorted through all of our glass here and I picked out some potential pieces that I think would work for our fish body. Also, while I was going through, I found some little pieces that we might use as part of their fins. So let's check these out, let's see what's possible, and I'll show you what we choose. Okay, so here you can see I'm sorting through the pieces, just kind of putting them on the canvas, seeing what I might envision for the fish. This process does take a little bit of time, but it's totally up to you how much time you want to spend on it. So then I took them off of the canvas and I started to look through my green pieces to see what could our fish potentially look like. I wasn't sure yet if I was going to make 6 fish or just 2, but I like to have some options. So here we are sorting through the fins. Obviously this is a time lapse, but it takes a little bit longer. So hopefully you will enjoy the process of actually going through and seeing what different pieces might work together for you. So still looking through, seeing what we can imagine here for our little fish friends. When you're looking through the body, you might want more of like a circular shape. But again, because you're looking from the sea, you never know what kind of glass you're gonna get. All right, so we spent some time sorting through all the sea glass. I picked out the pieces that I like. I think it's always good to put it down, move things around, see what you like. These are just about dry, so what we're gonna do next is also place them on here to see where we want them while the hot glue gun is heating up. All right. Okay, so we're going to start attaching our fish here. Obviously I'm moving a little bit quicker, so with the glue gun you might find that you get some stringy pieces here and there. Obviously if you're a parent working with a younger child, perhaps you would want to use the hot glue gun for them, you know, just to be safe. So here we go, we kind of figured out where we want them. We got a big guy, a little guy, maybe this is, you know, a parent and child fish. Here you can see some stringy pieces, but you normally can pull them right off. Again, we're not going for perfection. Adding some eyes here, and you know, trying some bubbles. This maybe didn't work out as well as I thought that it would with all the stringy pieces, but you could maybe take some scissors and cut it as you go. Again, this is an optional piece, but I think it looks nice. It really gives you the effect that they're swimming under, you know, under the sea. But again, totally up to your preference, and you know, I think it looks cute. All right, fish gang, so we made it to part 2. So we painted, we put our fish down, added a couple little extra details like the eyes and the little bubbles, which is a little complicated, so if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. So you could stop right here if you wanted to. You do have a very beautiful, simple piece of fish swimming in the ocean. And just to note, this could be a gift for, you know, a mother and a child, or a parent and a child. It could be for a couple. It could be for whatever you want. And depending on how many fish you add, you know, just makes it special for the type of present that you're gonna give. So I'm gonna show you some extra things you can do if you don't wanna stop here. All right, so because we like to be a little bit extra in this household, I just pulled out a couple of rocks and shells, just kind of starting at the bottom with some bigger pieces and then layering in, you know, the smaller pieces just to give that effect, again, that you're really under the sea. It brings out some nice color. I found a couple pieces of little sea glass to add in, and it's really fun to just, you know, explore, look at the colors, kind of have fun with it. There's obviously a randomness to it as well, but certainly I think it gives it that little extra 3D pop. And if you are an avid shell hunter or sea glass hunter like myself, it is really great to see all of your pieces come together into such a beautiful piece of art. All right, so we got our 2 guys here. I just wanted to show you on one that a choice you can make is to add some hot glue kind of over and in between to also give the illusion of water, and it just kind of helps secure everything. We're not going to do it on both, just on one. All right, here we go. Okay, so like I said, we added some hot glue to this one to give that water illusion type effect. If that's something that you like, you know, go ahead and do that step. If not, you can just keep it plain. So for the very final touch, we're gonna add some twine around the side. I think it makes it look a little bit more nautical. You can use thick twine, thin twine, whatever you'd like on hand. Maybe you have some rope. That's totally up to you, but this is what I have on hand, so this is what we're gonna use. All right. So to give myself a little bit of time saving here, I went around and just measured, you know, about the size of the perimeter of the canvas, and I wasn't sure if I wanted 1 or 2 pieces around it, so I just started with 1, you know, but it was feeling like a little thin. I think if I had thicker twine, I would have left just 1, but we went ahead and added a second one as well. Again, I think it gives it that really pretty nautical look. It helps it feel a little more finished and just makes your piece even more beautiful. All right, fish gang, there you have it. So we have 2 beautiful pieces of sea glass art. Our little fishy friends here. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really hope that you are able to put your creative mind to use. You know, you don't need too many materials. They're all pretty easy to obtain. So we can't wait to see all the special sea glass art that you guys make. Feel free to Drop what you make in the comments. Please like and subscribe this channel, and we look forward to seeing you all soon. All right, peace.